In the quiet town of Blackwood, an event occurred that shook its residents to the core. Nestled between the undulating hills and the serene lake, Blackwood was a place where one could hear the wind whispering stories through the leaves of ancient trees. It was a town where everyone knew everyone, where secrets were as scarce as a summer snowfall. In this tranquil setting there lived a woman named Mary. Mary was no ordinary resident. She was the town's beloved schoolteacher, the lady who ran the Sunday school, and the friendly face you'd see tending to her roses in the front yard. Her laughter was as infectious as her spirit was indomitable, making her a popular figure amongst the townsfolk. One chilly October morning, the town awoke to an eerie silence. It wasn't the kind of silence that preludes a storm, but the unsettling quiet that follows a dreadful event. The school bell rang, but Mary's classroom remained empty. The church stood still, its Sunday school devoid of the usual cheer. Her roses, once vibrant and full of life, now seemed to wilt in her absence. Blackwood was missing its heartbeat, and the townsfolk felt it. The confusion soon turned into concern, then into a cold, gnawing fear. Mary, the woman who was more punctual than the town clock, had mysteriously disappeared. Searches were conducted, prayers were whispered, and even the stoic sheriff couldn't mask his worry. The tight-knit community of Blackwood was fraying at its edges, the threads of their peaceful existence slowly unraveling. As the autumn leaves fell, so did the town's hope. The once vibrant Blackwood was now a shadow of its former self, shrouded in an ominous silence. The residents huddled in their homes, their hearts heavy with dread and uncertainty. They couldn't comprehend how a woman as lively as Mary could vanish without a trace. They couldn't fathom the darkness that was about to descend upon their quiet town. Little did they know the horror was just beginning. A week after Mary's disappearance, strange sounds echoed from her empty house. The once comforting home now seemed to hum with an otherworldly energy. The wind whistled through the cracks in the doors and windows, creating a low, mournful howl that sent shivers down the spine of anyone who dared to come too close. During the day, the house was eerily silent, but as soon as the sun set, the disturbing symphony would begin anew. It was a chorus of whispers, faint but persistent, as if a crowd of unseen spirits were murmuring secrets in the dark. Occasionally the whispers would be punctuated with a bone-chilling scream, abruptly cutting through the night. The sounds were so unsettling, so unnatural, that even the bravest souls in town felt a pang of unease. Fear began to grip the townsfolk. Whispers turned into speculation, speculation into suspicion. Was Mary's house haunted? Had she been taken by some nefarious force? Was she still alive, somehow trapped in her own home? The questions were endless, the answers non-existent. The town was on edge, a community held captive by an unseen terror. In the midst of the growing fear, a group of brave locals decided to face the unknown. They were ordinary people, not ghost hunters or paranormal investigators, but they felt a responsibility to their friend, their neighbor Mary. They needed to know what happened to her. So they made the decision to step into the unknown, their hearts pounding in their chests, their minds filled with dread. Armed with nothing but flashlights and an unwavering determination, they approached the house. The sounds grew louder as they neared, the whispers more intense, the screams more piercing. But they pressed on, driven by the need to uncover the truth. What they discovered was far more terrifying than they could ever have imagined. Inside Mary's house, the walls told a chilling story. A narrative of fear and chaos was etched in every corner, silently screaming of the nightmarish reality that had unfolded within these four walls. The first thing that hit you was the disarray. Furniture was upturned, shattered remnants of once cherished belongings littered the floor. It was as though a tempest had raged through the living room, its fury leaving no stone unturned. Yet amidst this chaos there was an unsettling order, a pattern that hinted at something far more sinister than a mere burglary. And then there were the drawings, crude, unsettling sketches that covered the walls like a grotesque wallpaper. They depicted monstrous figures, their eyes void of anything human, their mouths twisted into grotesque smiles. These were not the doodles of a child's active imagination. They were a desperate plea for help, a silent scream echoing off the walls. But perhaps the most disturbing element was the messages. Scrawled in a hurried hand, words and phrases that made little sense to the untrained eye were etched into the very fabric of the house. "They're here. I can't escape. It won't let me go." Each sentence a chilling testament of Mary's growing despair and fear. Could this be the result of a disturbed mind, or was it evidence of something far more troubling? The idea of demonic possession, often relegated to the realm of horror movies and sensational novels, began to creep into the minds of those who dared to step inside this house of horrors. The signs were there. The inexplicable chaos, the terrifying drawings, the desperate messages. Could it be that Mary was not alone in this house? Could it be that she was sharing her space with a malevolent entity, a demon from the darkest corners of the underworld? But the true horror was yet to be revealed. The house had given up its secrets, whispered its terrifying tale, but there was more. A deeper darkness was waiting to be uncovered, a truth that would shake the very foundations of what we believe. As they delved deeper into the house, they stumbled upon Mary's diary. Its worn-out pages held the key to understanding the chilling events that had transpired in the old, musty house. Mary's entries started off as a mere reflection of her daily life, filled with dreams and aspirations. But as the pages turned, a chilling narrative began to unfold. Mary spoke of odd occurrences, objects moving on their own, inexplicable noises in the dead of the night. The once cheerful diary became a record of her growing fear, an eerie testament to her spiraling sanity. In her own words, Mary detailed the first time she felt an unseen presence. "It was a cold winter's night," she wrote, "when she felt a sudden chill run down her spine. The room temperature dropped drastically, and her breath turned frosty. She could feel a malicious presence, an entity that seemed to feed off her fear." The diary entries grew darker and more disturbed. Mary wrote of her nightmares, of being tormented by a demonic figure, of waking up with scratches she couldn't explain. She described the figure as having eyes that glowed like burning coal, a chilling smile that was too wide to be human, and a voice that echoed in the depths of her mind. As they read the diary, the group could feel the fear and tension mounting. The air around them seemed to thicken, the shadows on the walls seemed to dance menacingly. Mary's diary had become a window into her tormented soul, and they were the unwilling spectators. Her final entries were frantic, filled with pleas for help. She wrote of feeling trapped, possessed by the entity that had invaded her life. Mary's once vibrant spirit was now lost in the darkness, consumed by a force she couldn't understand or control. They were beginning to realize the terrible truth about Mary's fate. The chilling entries in her diary were not just the ramblings of a disturbed mind, but the desperate cries of a soul lost to the darkness, a victim of a dark possession. In the final pages of Mary's diary, the horrifying truth was revealed. The once innocent and lively girl had been victim to a force so menacing it would send shivers down the bravest of spines. Mary had been possessed, not by a passing spirit or a lost soul, but by a malevolent entity, a demon that had found a home within her. Her diary entries, once filled with the mundane joys and sorrows of everyday life, had transformed into chilling accounts of her terrifying ordeal. Her words painted a picture of her last days, filled with torment and despair as she fought a losing battle against the demon within her. The demon was cunning, manipulative, and ruthless. It toyed with Mary, twisting her reality into a nightmarish realm of shadows and dread. It whispered terrible things, filling her mind with unspeakable horrors, pushing her to the brink of madness. It took pleasure in her suffering, feeding on her fear and despair. The group, who had set out on a quest to unravel the mystery of Mary's disappearance, were left aghast. The horrifying truth was too grotesque, too terrifying to process. They had ventured into the unknown, hoping to find answers, but what they found was a reality darker and more sinister than any of them could have imagined. The town of Blackwood was never the same. The chilling tale of Mary's possession cast a dark shadow over the quaint town. The once cheerful and bustling streets now lay quiet, the laughter and chatter replaced by an eerie silence. The townsfolk, once oblivious to the existence of such horrifying entities, were now haunted by the terrifying reality of the unseen world around them. The echoes of Mary's fate still linger in the quiet town of Blackwood. Her tale, a grim reminder of the terrifying unknown that lurks in the shadows, waiting to pounce, to possess, to torment. A reminder that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are not the ones hiding under our beds, but the ones that lurk within us. Thank you for joining us on this chilling journey into the depths of the unseen. We've traversed through the shadows, uncovering a tale so horrifying it's left us all with goosebumps. Mary's story, a dark reminder of the terrifying unknown that lurks within us, has now become a part of us. It's a tale we'll carry with us, a chilling echo of the reality that we so often choose to ignore. If this journey sent shivers down your spine and left you craving for more tales of terror, then remember to hit that like button. Your support is what fuels our passion for unearthing these terrifying tales. And if you haven't already, do subscribe to our channel. We're always on the hunt for more spine-chilling tales, and we would love for you to be a part of our terrifying adventures. As we bid adieu, remember the dark isn't always just the absence of light. Sometimes it's a realm of unseen horrors lurking in the shadows, waiting to pounce. So until our next journey into the unknown, sleep tight and don't let the bedbugs or the demons bite.